2 days of action already coming in. This is the second day. The boys have gone as fast as they can on the first day. They're trying to figure out how to go fast in the second day. Right here, one of the racers bringing in the DOT tires. This is one class where the boys try to figure out how to go as fast as they can with the DOT. The tires can be cut. They used to be street legal. Now they are cut to go mud racing. They still have to carry the DOT number on the side of them, but these racers take the tires off. They look into those rear ends, being sure that everything is right, because this is a one-shot deal. When they pull to that line, they've got to have it right. There's no second chances. There's no timeouts. You do it right in the pit area, then you take it to the track to try to be the #1 man. One of the true stars in the sport, ladies and gentlemen. The man comes out of Fredericktown, Missouri. He was the indoor champion for 1990-91. He holds many track records. This is Ronnie Pence out of Fredericktown, Missouri. The machine's name is Tater. 1271 blower setting underneath a fuel-injected bonnet. Just almost lifting those front tires off the ground. I told you he was a hard charger, and he proved it right then. When he left that line, the front tires lifted just barely, getting full traction on the back end all the way through. The high horsepower, the big cubic inches showed off on that run right there. The Tater machine, he has set the mark for the other boys to shoot at. He says, guys, I won the indoor class. Now you're going to have to beat me on the outdoor class. Legal speed. Right here is one that you really want to keep your eyes on. This is Glenn SEABOLT out of McDonough, Georgia. The legal speed machine, Glenn SEABOLT, a true professional, has run the indoor circuit, has run the outdoor circuit. The way his machines are set up, they are built to go. Sometimes they get just a little bit off. I've seen this man sideways in the pit, get it straightened back out, and still go out the finish line in a winning time. He will not let off of that motor. He'll hang in it the whole time. And still hanging into it as he went fast. You seen true speed picking up on that big end right there. 2.82. 2.82. As I said, that would be one of the boys to watch, and he proved it right there with a 2.82. Glenn SEABOLT and legal speed. Well, the stage has been set. The Tater machine and the legal speed machine has already showed the rest of this class what it's going to take to win. The boys have got to be quick. They got to look at this track and figure out just exactly where they're going to go and somehow cut tenths of seconds off of already a quick time. The Miller Genuine Draft Car coming to the line. Kimball Shows is the driver's name. Now, he is only running fuel injected. He does not have the big blower. Another one of the guys relying on the nitrous oxide. You notice the roll cage is sets up around him. Each and every one of these drivers comes to this track. That is just part of the safety equipment that these guys must have. A 3-point safety roll cage to keep them contained in the event of an accident. And with the speed that you see these boys making through this track, you cannot be too safe, none whatsoever. Rolls up, breaks those staging lights, waiting on the green. Gets out of shape. Got out of shape. He got up on top of the track. Could not get the traction on the back end to drive him straight forward. That will be a disqualification for running out of bounds. He got off to the side, brought it this way, tried to fight it back in. He got off the throttle, nailed it one more time, but then it shot off to the side. Now you can see the machine is narrow on the back end, wide on the front end. As you talk to these mud racers out here in the mud pit, you'll find that there is a difference in opinion on how wide you want that back axle or even the front axle. Here's another one of the low profile, low center of gravity, rear engine machines. Once again, they do run by the rules of the NMRO, the National Mud Racing Association. From the time they are called to the track, they've got 3 minutes to fire and come to the line. Michael ADKINS. We'll see how those front tires will work on this track. See if he has near the same trouble some of the other machines has had. time, but the front tires was just barely touching the ground all the way through. Well, you can see why he wasn't too worried about those front tires. So that was a good run, an extremely good run, a good time. The wide axle seemed to give him just the traction that he needed. Now here is one that you can hear the horsepower in. When the motor goes to loping like that, that means big cubic inches. .540 cubic inches to be exact. Cut tires all the way around the Jeep body. Getting a little bit sideways, the motor was screaming all the way through. The motor was screaming all the way through, but he just did not have the quick speed. Did not have the quick speed. Could have used a taller gear in the transmission, looked like, as the motor sure was hitting the high RPM, but just did not get the launch through the line like he wanted to. Yes, when you come back out here into the pit area, they're not over with. They're not sitting down getting cooled off. They're getting ready for other classes. As the DOT class is running, they're back here putting on the paddle tires, getting ready to go into the next class. Because a machine can run two different classes. Basic difference is the tires that they run. Going from the DOTs to the cut tires will give you about a second off your time, and that's what you need to go fast. The horsepower is unlimited in the open class. The big boys run the big toys right there, and they got to have those tires on. So as one class is running, the machines come back here, they change tires and get psyched up for that next class. One of the few ladies that competes in this sport. From Oologah, Oklahoma, comes PAULA HARBUCK. She finished high up in the standings on the indoor circuit. This particular machine has traveled abroad. The FLIRTIN with Disaster machine. Rolling forwards, moving backwards to get those starting ruts packed down tight. 453 cubic inches. Does not run the big blocks, the bigger big blocks, I should say, as some of these other racers. But here is a racer that has got it dialed in. She lifted off the throttle about 10 to 20 feet early, but she still sets a time of 2.9. She spun on the starting line. She did not get the quick launch that she needed, and then she lifted off the throttle about 10 to 20 feet early, but the little lady still sets an outstanding time on a 200-foot pit of mud of 2.9. Here is the driver that goes to win. He drives to win out of Paxton, Illinois. Tom Meents and Shake Me. It's a 32 Ford Roadster is what it is, with 509 cubic inches of Keith's Black engine. The Hemi engine. Here's a man that will stay in the motor all the way. Tom Meents and Shake Me. I told you the boy would stay in it all the way, and that's just exactly what he done. With a time of 2.68, he just broke the national record in a 200-foot pit of mud with a 2.68. Takes the lead in the class, breaks the national record, goes back to the pit area as one happy man. Tom Meents and the Shake Me machine, 509 cubic inches, just takes the lead with a national record. On the line right now, another one of the national contenders, the Pork Brothers Express. They're going to go back to the center of the track. You can watch a hard run right here. Jeff Ballard and Pork Brothers Express out of Mount Sterling, Kentucky. Look for this man to challenge the record. Gets it a little sideways on the big end, throwing mud plumb up into the crowd. Sets a time of 2.940 is the exact time coming in for the Pork Brothers Express. Lacking just a few hundredths of a second going into the lead. But that is one of the national contenders, Jeff Ballard and Pork Brothers Express. Taking a pass at the best of them, but moving up in the top notches for sure. Richard MILSTEAD coming to the line now out of Jackson, Alabama. Fatal Attraction. A 454 engine. Once again, we're getting into the size of engine that don't get up into the 500 cubic inches, but he feels like with the cubic inches that he's got, with the blower motor, with the Predator carburetors. Now, you've seen Predator carburetors on one of the other machines, but this one has two of them setting up on top of the blower, the rotary windmill, some of them call it. You put the blower on top, that gives you a lot of horsepower. And Fatal Attraction, Richard MILSTEAD, is going to need a lot of power plus a quick time. Got off to a bad start. The Fatal Attraction machine got off to a bad start. He raised the RPM up to try to get a hole shot, lifted off the brake, went down on the throttle. The motor paused just a little bit and then caught a hold, but that was just enough to cost him quite a few tenths of seconds to keep him from going up into the bigger numbers. The Fatal Attraction machine sneezed at the wrong time and gonna cost him quite dearly. Talk about the boys that's on the national circuit, ladies and gentlemen, that travels the miles, and you got to talk about this one. Out of Vandalia, Ohio, Chad Miller, the Instant T machine. Here's another one of the boys that has taken a rough ride from time to time, but a man that knows if he's going to get into the winner's circle, he's going to have to stay on that throttle all the way through, hold it inside the boundary lines, and make a quick time, and he is capable of making the quick time. The smaller tires on the front, the bigger tires on the back, inching up into the staging area. Look for this man to have a quick time. Instant T. Staying in it all the way through. These boys utilizing the big shutdown area right here. The Instant T come off the line, went across the track and done an extremely good job.
Chad Miller and the Instant T machine moves into the fourth place spot with a time of 2.85 seconds. Glenn SEABOLT in Legal Speed holds on to third with 2.82 seconds. Ron Pence sits in the second place spot with his Tater machine and a fast time of 2.75 seconds. And Tom Meets continues to hold on to the lead with a new NMRO national record of 2.68 seconds in Shake Knee. We've seen some incredible times from today's DOT Cup Tire class. And with half of the drivers already making their runs, the clock shows less than 1 second between the top 10 boggers. That's action at its best. And that's the NMRO All-Star Nationals in McComb, Mississippi, home of the 200-foot pit of Mississippi mud. We'll be back with the rest of the class right after this.
Professionals run out here on the track. They're getting ready to get back into action. But let's look behind the scenes for just a little bit. This is where it all got started. These boys right here, these are the street legal guys. This is one of the 5 classes that can be run in the sport of mud racing. This pickup setting right here has got the DOT street legal tires on it. The pickup is basically street legal. He can change tires, put on cut tires, and also go into another class. But this is where you become a professional. You start in one of these classes and then work your way up. So right now, let's get back and watch some of the professionals go fast through a 200-foot pit of mud. The Gambler. Here comes the Gambler. And Garland Walls out of Port Orange, Florida. S10 Blazer, one of the few full body machines. Spurting off a little bit of nitrous oxide right there. Each and every one of these boys test that nitrous oxide to be sure that the lines are full. He's going to get up into the big money. He's got to get into the 2-second ranges. Has 2.68, still setting in the lead. You've got a 2.6 in first, a 2.7 in second. The big boys with the big guns have come to this arena to get serious here today, and the Gambler is going to be one of them. 530 cubic inches of injected nitrous oxide. He rolled off the starting line just a little bit. When he lifted his foot, he rolled off the starting line before he went down on the throttle. when you roll off of that starting line, the clock starts, and if you're not going fast then, you're losing time. But he needed to hammer down right when he lifted his foot off of the brake. Here comes another one of the rear-engine dragster designs. Looks very similar to one that you've seen earlier in this class. Now, some of the boys feel like with the rear-engine design, they're putting as much weight in the center of the vehicle. You can kind of see where the motor is setting on this machine, right behind the driver, kind of distributing a little bit of the weight to the front tires as well as the back tires. The driver setting up front. He runs the Veritrack tires up front. Dave Ryan is the driver of the machine. Power to Spare 2 is the name of the machine. This is a new machine for Dave Ryan. A brand new car this year. Redesigned the suspension. Going to be looking for a quick time out of the Chrysler designed engine. Just barely stayed inside the pit. Just barely stayed inside the pit, but the Chrysler engine did not give him the speed that he was looking for. It looked like he might have had the traction, but he just could not get the quick time. The motor would not hit those high RPMs for Dave Ryan in the Power to Spare 2. Here comes one of the true professionals out of the state of Texas. This man was the indoor champion for 2 consecutive years. He won the outdoor record for the All-Star Nationals last year. He's back to try to be a back-to-back winner at the All-Star Nationals. This is George Gregory from Tyler, Texas, and a machine called the New Breed. He has moved over where nobody else has dared run yet. George Gregory going to run a new line, and that motor will sing. Probably the highest RPM of any motor that has gone through the mud pit here today. A time of 2.779 will move him up amongst the leaders. The New Breed, he come off of a new line. He went to the center of the track, run a different line than any of the other boys have run down the track. That motor was hitting as high RPM as any machine that's gone down the track. George Gregory showing some of the professionalism that he runs by trying something different. Calls the machine the Stud. Got Racemaster chassis on the side of it. Mike Pacina moving up there on the line, warming that engine up. He's going to use the same line as what was set down by the New Breed. Running a tall gear, staying in the motor all the way. You heard that motor starting to labor down on the big end as the mud pit gets a little thicker down here where it's been stirred up. And the motor started laboring down here on the big end. He pretty well shot a straight line all the way through the track. But Mike Pacina and the Stud will get him a time good enough to put him up right in the middle of the pack. 2 more machines left in this class. The time of the 2.68, the national record that was just set here just a few moments ago, is still the time to beat. And the Bad machine, Mo Bad, coming to the line right now to attack that time. Keith Metcalf wants to be Mo Bad than any other machine that has been down this line. Runs the Chevrolet engine, has the blower motor. He's got the right goodies underneath his hood. Going to go right down the center of the track. He feels like that's where his traction is. He tightens up those shoulder harnesses. The safety harness inside the roll cage to hold the driver in. He knows he's got to go fast. He tightens those harnesses down. So he's got to go a little faster. Broke the transfer chain right in the center of the machine, coming off of the transfer case to drive the front wheel. Broke the chain that gives him the power to the front end. Keith Metcalf and the Mo Bad machine having a little bit of mechanical difficulty. Probably about a $5 chain might have cost this man right at $1,000 running through the mud pit. Here is the last racer of the class, the Ford machine, Gary Osteen out of Holly Hill, Florida. the Thunderbird 1956 Ford T-Bird, 572 cubic inches of Ford engine. This will make the Ford fans get up and holler. He has got the shot, ladies and gentlemen, the last man in the class. He can win it all right here. He will have to take a national record to get it done, as there's been a national record set in this class already. The Thunderbird of Gary Osteen out of the state of Florida is so capable of getting it done. Lifting the front tires as he went across the finish line. Ford, the last one to go in the class, and just reshuffled the point standing, just reshuffled the standings of this class. At 175 foot, the Ford engine was gaining speed all the way. An exciting class of racing right here this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, in the cut tire class. And how exciting was it? A national record of 2.65 set down by the Shake Me, Tom Meents. Tom, you drawed a number in the middle of the pack. Was it just conditions just right, or was you just dialed in?
Oh, the car just seemed to pull real good. It's a brand new transmission in there, and it really held good, and it just went straight as an arrow. That's all it took.
When did you know that you had broke the national record? Did you feel it as you went through that 200 foot? You knew you had a good run, but how good did you think it was?
I knew it was a good run, Dave, but I didn't think it was quite that quick till I seen the crew jumping up and down, and I knew it was.
Shake Me, Tom Meents out of Paxton, Illinois, is the new winner here today and the new national record holder.
Well, there you have it, the conclusion of the first of 9 NMRO All-Star National Events, with Tom Meents Shake Me jumping into the lead with 230 points. Chad Miller and the Instant Tea Machine moves into second with 185 points. And Ron Pence with the Tater takes third with 175 points. Remember, these mudboggers are after much more than a first-place win. With total points from 9 All-Star Nationals, the top 12 boggers will pack their rigs and head for the NMRO Finals of the All-Star Nationals in Aruba, the Dutch Caribbean. Plan to be there, but if you can't, watch for it on ESPN. See you there.